Hello everybody, welcome back to the new improved Phasmophobia. This new update is amazing, and in this video I'm going to teach you everything new that has come to the game. And in this update I'm going to teach you all the new tier 1 list items. There's a lot to go on here, so let's jump right into it.
Nilos would have to pull them out.
So if you do log in onto the new update, as you can see, nothing really has changed. You've kept all your stuff, all your trophies, all the cursed possessions, the bones, stuff like that. If you look at all the glasses, the glass cases, you can see that there is the new tier 1, 2, and 3 flashlights, the glow sticks, the 3 tiers for the UV lights, which is the glow sticks, a UV light, and a bigger UV light. Then you have the new ghostwriting material, which is the tier 1, 2, and 3. And then you also have the sanity pills, tier 1, 2, and 3, which 3 looks really cool. I can't wait to get that. It looks like a freaking syringe or a stem from Call of Duty. And then these are all the new items right in the middle of your office. You can see the tripods, the cameras, everything here new. And there is a total of 60 items now. There used to be 22, and now there is 60 items. Each item before has 3 different tiers. Doesn't matter how useless it was, even the sound sensors have 3 tiers. If you look around your office or the main base, as you can see, there is nothing new. Completely the same, and also the main menu is completely the same, nothing different. The daily tasks and the weekly tasks. And if you click the pencil on your icon, you can see that there is a new badge, which is the prestige badge. I'm hoping you get different prestige badges as you prestige, and then you could see that your level is right there on the but underneath the money, which is 1 dash whatever level you are. Currently I'm level 16. Each prestige has 100 levels, and I'm guessing it'll be 2-001, and you have to get all the way through level 100 again. Keep in mind, when you do prestige, you do lose everything except for your money. I believe that's how it is. And then if you keep on going farther, you also have your special badges. So any challenges there are, the apocalypse challenges, and if you did any other challenges or events you did before the update, it'll still be there. There are also ID card themes, and I'm wondering if each prestige is gonna have different ID card themes. Also, if you do want to unlock these new tiers or these new items, you do have to level up. Just in case nobody really knew how to get these items, all you have to do is level up, and you have to get to certain levels to unlock different tiers. Some of them are like up to 85, I think. I think the smudge stick tier 3 is like 85, I can't remember. But yeah, each time you level up, you also sometimes each level you will get $500 or 500 XP. I can't remember what it was, and it's actually really cool. Alright, so now let's talk about the actual gameplay and how some of these equipments actually work, because there's a lot of different things happening in this update, and there's a lot of changes happening in this update. So when you get into the game, it's not going to be as filled as I am, because I am already level 16. You won't have smudge sticks, crucifixes, candles, lighters, sanity pills, stuff like that. But when you do get in, you'll have something similar to this. Everything's the same in the truck. You'll have all of your actual evidence items on the right. You'll have the sound sensors, the map, sanity and activity, challenges, computer right over there. Everything is the same, and I will teach you, or I will show you how each evidence works. Again, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of different videos out there, and people are already on max tier 3s. Like Psycho, I believe he is already like level 100 right now. I don't know that yet. I haven't looked at it, but it's actually kind of crazy how he's already got everything to tier 3. But without rambling on, once you find the ghost and you find an evidence, you're gonna have your EMF. And it's gonna look really weird. There's gonna be, as you can see, there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, and then there's the 4 and the 5 on the right. Those are all the each levels, and if the hand goes to one of those levels, one of those numbers, that's what EMF it is. So for example, this one went to 3. Just because it goes over 3, but it doesn't go to 4, and it keeps on going back and forth, does not mean it's 3.5 EMF. It is just 3. You'll see that with EMF 2 as well. EMF 2 will kind of go like EMF 2, then 1, then 2, then 1, but it will never go to 3. As I believe, if you're new, there is never an EMF 1. There's always EMF 2, 3, 4, and 5. But again, if it is EMF 2, it'll probably like spike up to 3, but then go back down. As long as it's hitting that number most of the time, it's going to be that EMF. Same with EMF 4. It'll go from like 4 and then kind of halfway 4, maybe try to hit 5, and then it'll go back to 4. And it makes that ticking sound. If you want to know when it says EMF 5, or you want to know what it sounds like when it says hits EMF 5, you will know. Trust me, it's a loud screeching noise. It goes like you'll see it go 5 and over, stuff like that. Another thing I do want to talk about is that cameras and photos are limitless. Each camera has an unlimited amount of camera storage. You no longer have to cycle between 2 different cameras to get the perfect game and get those 10 pictures. You can just use one camera, and that is it. You can get all 10 pictures with one camera. And that goes with each tier as well. Tier 1, 2, and 3 for the camera. So right here, as you can see, the camera video camera, I will say, looks very small, and it is. You'll see the camera, the little screen on it is so tiny, and it's so hard to look in. Trust me, it's kind of hard to find ghost orbs with this camera. You also have the glow sticks, and then also the spirit box, and I will talk about the spirit box later. Trust me, a lot of people I've looked, and a lot of people have been having trouble with the spirit box, and myself included. Tier 1 is not an easy spirit box to communicate with, let alone if you don't know if there is going to be a spirit box, if that ghost has spirit box evidence with it. It is so frustrating to learn how to use, and don't worry, I will show you. Right here, as you can see, this camera is so small. You can see so little. I will zoom in for you. We do actually have ghost orbs in this one, but right here I get the EMF, and right there, as you can see, it's midway between 2 and 3, but it went to 3 first, so it is actually an EMF 3. It touched this door, and I click and I use the glow stick, and there is something you gotta learn about the glow stick as well. With UV evidence, it's no longer called fingerprints, it's called UV evidence. You will have to stick the glow stick or the UV light onto that fingerprint and hold it there like an actual UV light, so that way it actually glows for you to take the picture. You can't just shake the glow stick or crack the glow stick, put the UV light on it, and then call it a day. It will start to disappear, and I believe if you try to take a picture, I haven't tested this yet, which is something I do need to test out, you won't get a fingerprints picture if it's not there. So you actually have to hold the UV light right there in order for the fingerprints to actually glow up. Right here we don't have fingerprints, so you can right click, and it's no longer that white. If you guys are old Phasmophobia players, it is no longer that white sound. It is now the green night vision. So as you guys can see, this camera is so small. Tier 1 sucks so much. It's so hard. You literally have to get close to your screen in order to see through this camera. It is so bad. But right here, if you can see, I will zoom in for you guys. There are orbs right there. It is so hard to find these things. It's so incredibly annoying. But we do have orbs in this one, and there's spirit box. So, number one rule when doing spirit box, if you are new to this game, always turn the lights off in that room where you think the ghost is in. No matter where you're going to do the spirit box, always have the lights on, or you will not get a response ever. That is like the number one rule. Now, if you guys hear me right here, I'll ask some questions, but I will zoom in right here. There's going to be two lights right here. One will pop up white, which indicates you are talking to the spirit box and it hears you. If that white light does not come on, that means the spirit box cannot hear you, and therefore you will not get a response. The light on the right is actually, it will turn out red or white. If it's red, that means there is no response from the ghost. If it pops up white, you will actually hear the ghost trying to talk to you, and it's very similar to an actual spirit box recorder in real life. If you ever watch, let's say, Sam and Colby, they actually have something similar to this, more like an upgraded version, if you will, but it's very similar. It shuffles through channels, speak into it, the ghost uses the channels to make up words for you. But again, light on the left means if it does not glow, then your voice is not coming out into the game, and it will not light up. If it is lighting up, that means the spirit box can hear you. The light on the right, if it's red, that means there is no response. You're either in the wrong room, or that ghost does not have spirit box, or it wants to be a pain in the butt, because I swear to God, I have had several ghosts that actually have the evidence of spirit box, and I'm in the room where the ghost is, and that spirit box will not go off. Trust me, you guys are not the only ones. I was so frustrated with this. I believe they just need to fix it. I don't know if this was intentional, if spirit box is supposed to be like one of the hardest first evidences to have. But again, continuing on, white light on the right side means that ghost responded to you, and you will hear it. So I'll give you an example right here. So as you can see, you can't hear my voice, but the white light is right there, and that means my voice is coming into the spirit box and it is hearing me, and a red light appears, which means there is no response. Now, another tip for spirit box, if a ghost moves an item, which was right over here, I'll zoom in, it moved like silverware or something right over there, I quickly move over there, which means the ghost is right over there, which has a higher chance for the spirit box to actually respond to you if the ghost does have that. If you guys are having trouble, literally, you're not getting a response, your voice is going through, light just comes up red. If the ghost moves something like a door, plate, anything, move to that spot and try to use the spirit box. If it still does not give you a response, it will most likely not be a spirit box evidence or a spirit box ghost. So right there, as you can hear, the door actually moved. I take a picture of it, and as you can see right here, I want you guys to realize this, because this is, I believe, with every UV evidence, the UV glow stick, flashlight, and the bigger one. You do have to right click it again. As you can see, I shake it up and it gets brighter. If you don't, I don't believe the fingerprints will show up. So you actually have to cook it or charge it up to actually get that brighter look, and then actually have the fingerprints show up. Right here, we have 3 more evidences, and you're probably asking, what do you mean 3 more evidences? They changed something in this update, which I kind of agree and don't agree. I hate it, but love it at the same time. But it's with the freezing temps, and it makes you utilize the actual freezing temperature device a lot more. If you don't know what I mean, I'll show you. But here we are. We have the 3 last evidences, which is the ghostwriting book, the the dots light, which this thing sucks so much. In this video, you will see this is the first time I actually get a dots ghost up here. I've played this game. I've played the new update for maybe 3 days, which is probably when it's been out. 3 days so far, and I still have not gotten a dots ghost form up from this specific tier, and I finally did. We're also gonna get the thermometer. Trust me on this, you will need this. This is an actual evidence item now. Wherever the ghost is, put your thermometer there and just let it sit and do other things, okay? Do not just keep looking at it, but just let it sit there. Number one rule with the freezing temperatures: there is no such thing as freezing breath equals freezing temperature as an evidence. That is no longer a thing. Before the new update, it was a thing. If you saw your breath, freezing temperatures, you got the evidence. I made this mistake like so many times. I actually got bamboozled when I had a yokai, but I had my breath showed, and I thought it was freezing temperatures. I thought it was a mimic. Got out of there, and it was actually a yokai. I finally figured out that your breath does not mean freezing temperatures. Yes, it could mean freezing temperatures, but it does not actually mean that. You actually have to utilize the freezing temperature device or the tool and actually see it go below 0 Celsius or below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which I will show you, and it cannot, there's a specific rule you have to follow. So there's also a new thing with the ghostwriting book, which is actually similar to how the crucifix works. How the crucifix works is you place it down and you can actually see the radius on how far it reaches. Something similar with the ghostwriting book. You will try to place it down and you can see a circle appear. Wherever that circle is, if that ghost has ghostwriting evidence and it is in that vicinity, in that circle, it will be able to write in the book. It could be a ghost with ghostwriting evidence, but it could be in the other room and choose not to write in the book, and you could totally think it's not ghostwriting. So you do have to be careful with this. I like this idea. Ghostwriting was definitely a lot harder before the update. It's probably one of the hardest evidences to get if it did have ghostwriting. But now it's in my opinion, it's almost the first evidence I get every time if it does have that evidence. So it is actually kind of crazy, and I love it now. It's so amazing. But now we have the dots projector. This thing sucks so much. I hate tier 1 so much, and I can't not wait to get tier 2. Similar with the spirit box, the number one rule is if it touches something or if it goes somewhere and you hear it go somewhere, try to follow with the dots pin, which actually I did. You can kind of go back and forth as well, but right there you can see the ghost, and it's actually kind of creepy because it scared the hell out of me as well, if anyone ever figured that out. But this idea is that you actually get to see the ghost and what it does when it's not in its hunt state, which is actually really cool. I love that. I will tell you, it is so hard trying to find dots if the ghost has dots with tier 1. It is almost impossible. Sometimes, especially if you have a Goryo and you can't see it, and the only way to see it is with a camera, you have to put the dots down, and it doesn't cover a lot of space. It's possible, but it sucks so much. So right here, this is another example with the freezing temperatures. I just want to be very clear about this. The freezing breath does not mean freezing temperatures. You do have to use the tool. Just restating that. As you can see, I have freezing breath, and if you look closely, I will zoom in for you guys since if you guys can't see. The temperature is going down, so I did just want to make sure it wasn't a mimic. Right here, if you look very closely, I will zoom in again. It stays right at 0 and 32. That does not mean it's freezing temperatures. Only if it goes below those two numbers will it mean you actually have freezing temperatures. Do not make the mistake I did several times. It was so bad. There are a couple other items I do want to show you guys. I will not show you the candle. The candle is exactly the same. The only difference is that you cannot use the candles in the map now. You can no longer use them. So, but we do have matches, which is tier 1 for lighters, and then we also have a parabolic mic and salt. Because I want to be very specific with salt as well. Tier 1, you only get to place salt twice. I will state that 2 times. You can only place 2 salts. So with the new tiers for lighters, there are matches, the original lighter, and then a longer lasting fuel lighter. But if you right click tier 1, you get the animation. It's a match. It only lasts for like 3 seconds. Not 3 seconds, more like 7 seconds. But while this match is lit, you can light smudge sticks, other candles, stuff like that. You can constantly use these, but if you ever run out, or if, quote me if I'm wrong on this, but if you ever run out, or if you leave them in the house, you do have to buy more matches. And I believe that's going to be the same with the other lighters. If you run out of fuel, if you left them inside the house, you do have to buy more. And that's the same thing with smudge sticks. You do constantly have to buy more smudge sticks and crucifixes, which I kind of like that. That's more realistic. You don't have an infinite amount of smudge sticks and crucifixes and stuff like that. My favorite change so far with this update is the parabolic mic. I love this thing so much. No matter what tier it is, you're able to almost find the ghost room with any tier. Like, it's so amazing. So what happens is when you do turn it on, this sound just goes completely blur. All right. And you can only hear in one direction where the parabolic mic is pointing. So I will show you an example right here. It points towards the fan, point away, you can't really hear it. Points towards the fan, can't hear it, points away. Or points towards the fan, you can hear it, points away, you can't hear it. I love this change. This change is so amazing, and it's going to make finding the ghost room in big maps so much better. Of course, with each tier, you can hear from farther away. So I don't think tier 1 is going to be a reliable source for big maps right now. So try to get tier 2 before going into big maps, which I'm actually trying to do. So right here, we hear the ghost take a step into the salt and close the door. I want to be very specific. Footsteps are now UV evidence. Alright? So if you do see footprints when you put salt, that means it's a UV evidence ghost. It's no longer fingerprints, alright? I'm sure you guys could see that in the journal, but it's now called ultraviolet UV. So if you do see footprints with the UV light, that means it is a UV evidence. If you don't, that means it is not UV evidence. That's probably the fastest way to tell. From what I've heard of bakes, they will leave less steps. So if you see a step, you don't see a step, but then you see another step, that means it could actually be an obake. But right here, I will show you, giving you an example. I shake the UV. There's no footprints. So that means it was not a UV light evidence ghost. I'm trying to look around, see if it just traveled far. No UV footprints. So that is the biggest change with salt as well. And I believe wraiths still no longer step on salt, so you don't have to worry about that. So there's 3 more things I do want to cover in the tier list on tier 1. And that is the crucifix, the motion sensor, and the sanity pills. Or the drink, if you will. Everything else is the same. Smudge sticks are going to be the same as before, the big update. But they do have a duration on how long they confuse the ghost for, which is 5 seconds. And then obviously I talked about the candles. But other than that, we got the crucifixes, motion sensor, and sanity pills. So I'll talk about the crucifixes now. So with these crucifixes, tier 1 crucifixes only give you stop 1 hunt. They can only stop 1 hunt. They can't stop 2 anymore, so you have to get the next tier 2, which stops 2 hunts. So tier 1 only stops 1 hunt. They have the same range. If the rooms are connected like Tanglewood, where the kitchen and the dining room are connected, you probably want to put 2 crucifixes, 1 in the kitchen and then 1 in the dining room. There's really nothing special with these guys, other than they only last 1. They can only stop 1 hunt. They suck, to be honest. You could still take an interaction photo of it and then still take a picture of the bird crucifix. Now I want to talk about the motion sensor tier 1. It's going to be the same as the last motion sensor from the update before, but this one has a red light now. So if you cross that red light, the light will turn on the motion sensor and it will stay on. Now this red light does not go on forever. If you see right here, it only covers maybe a third of the room. But when you do enter the red light, the light does turn on and it doesn't go off. While before, you would walk through it and it would just light up and then go off. But when you stay in it, it stays on forever, so you could use this as a light source as well. And then there's several ways you can use the motion sensor, like if you have a wraith, if you have a banshee, phantom, because those three ghosts roam to you. Especially with the banshee, they use it a lot. So if you, let's say the banshee's in the kitchen, you go all the way to the front of the house, you put a motion sensor, and it's constantly going to you and back, then you can almost guarantee it's a banshee, wraith, or phantom. Now, last thing I do want to talk about is the sanity pills. So tier 1 sanity pills are these weird drink canisters, and when you use them, it's no longer an instant gets you that sanity. It's more of a overtime effect, and it increases your sanity over time. Tier 1 will give you 30 sanity, I believe, and it will take around 10 seconds to get there, to increase your sanity by 30. That is pretty much all the tier 1 items, other than the sound sensor, which the sound sensor is a little weird to play around with. I'm still trying to play around with it right now and understand it. I need to do some digging with it, but the gist of the sound sensor is that if you place it, let's say, in the Tanglewood kitchen, you go to your truck, you look at your sound sensor screen, and it will tell you if it hears something, and it'll tell you roughly the direction. Tier 2, it shows you on the map where it was, exactly where, or if that's tier 3, I don't remember. But, well, I'll make a video on tier 2 items, but this is all tier 1. And then obviously the tripods, if you guys didn't know, ghosts can now knock over tripods. Tier 1 is the worst of them, and the ghost will be able to throw it and knock it over a lot, and be able to do it often, easily, without effort. It does count as an EMF, so if you get EMF 5 from that, you could. So one thing I forgot to mention on accident, I totally forgot about this, but candles, yes, they are still the same, but there's a little slight difference to it. They no longer stop draining sanity drain. They will drain sanity. So you could still drain sanity from holding a candle, it's just not as fast as it usually is. So sometimes you would actually have to utilize the candle sometimes, depending on if you don't want to get a hunt or not. Obviously, with the higher tiers, it's going to be a lot harder to drain your sanity the higher tier you go up. If there is anything I am missing, go ahead and tell me, let me know in the comments. There's also, they have in the Steam, you can go to their page and look at everything new in the new major update right here. They show you everything from progression, equipment, reward changes, training, camera pad, blocking, more changes, fixes, issues, everything that's going around. And you could also go to Reddit. There's a lot of people trying to figure out everything new with this game. And stay tuned for the tier 2 list. I'm going to be doing a video for tier 2 list as well. Just have to get there. And then also, keep watching the videos. Subscribe and like. Leave a comment, of course. And stay tuned, because they are coming out with a new map here soon. I don't know when. And Phasmophobia is coming to Xbox console players later this month. So I'll see you guys in the next episode in the new video, and peace out.